You have to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you won't be successful at it.
We can have all the ambition, all the dreams, but
Yeah.
nothing will be
No.
achievable if you don't perform today. What's the secret fuel of great leadership?
I would have to say curiosity. If I was going to add another word, it would be
What opportunity and challenges this industry is offering?
we've had to evolve at a very, very fast pace just because of the industry that we're in. Reservoirs are becoming more complex, more remote. The geomechanics of it all are far more complex than they were 20, 30 years ago.
This is the Oil and Gas Breaking By show, where we are going to invite industry leaders to talk about their journeys and also technologies of tomorrow, in an effort to break some of the biases that might have formed around this energy industry. Hello everyone, I hope you are happy and healthy. I'm Anand Jha and you are listening to the Oil and Gas Breaking By show. Today I'm happy and excited because we are joined by Simon Ross, who is Senior Vice President of Global Supply at SLB. With 20 plus of experience in operation, technology, supply chain, he has led many major transformation and also managed multi-million dollar portfolios worldwide. Known for leading diverse teams and driving innovation, Simons offers unique perspective on how agility and leadership changing the future of energy industry. So with that, let's deep dive into his leadership journey and also get his views on the biases that might exist in this energy industry. Simon, welcome to Oil and Gas Breaking By show. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Anand. It's very nice to be here, and thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here.
Thank you so much for your time. As you know, you are traveling a lot, and it was very hard to find this time for this podcast.
Yeah.
And finally, we are meeting today. And also, as I mentioned you before, you had a really, really diverse background. You know, like it's not easy to find someone who has done a lot, starting from field service engineer to consulting, operation engineering, and now leading a supply chain. So, a lot to learn from you, but I don't want to waste any other minute. Simon, stage is yours. Please walk us through your journey and some of the biases that might came across during this journey and how you came over it.
Okay. Well, I think I come from a fairly simple background, actually. I was born in Scotland. My father used to fly helicopters for Bristow Helicopters, and so him and my mum moved up to Scotland from London, where they lived, for that reason. And so my sister and I were born west in Aberdeen, and we lived west of Aberdeen, and had a very rural upbringing. Moved around quite a bit, but we're brought up, I would say, with very strong family values and making the most out of what we had in front of us. The reality of all of that was that my sister and my mum now were very, very, very close. Things change over life, and mum and dad are no longer together, but my sister and my mum and I are extremely close, and to this day, my sister is probably my most important mentor and coach in my life, you know, and vice versa is the same thing. So I come from a small but very close family who have been through quite a bit, so that was absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, the most important part of my life, that start. But there's a funny thing that happens to many people when you grow in an environment like that, is that you want the opposite.
Yes.
And my desire was to move to a city and to leave the country, right? To be in action. So so worked hard at school. I liked a variety of things. I loved art and design, but I also liked maths and physics. And actually, it was my art teacher. I'll never forget my art teacher when I was in high school. He said I was doing some project. Doesn't matter what it was. I was getting really fed up with it, and I was having to come in at lunchtime to work on this project. And he walked past me and he said, "Simon, how you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fed up with this project." And he said, "Simon, you have to enjoy what you're doing, otherwise you won't be successful at it, you know." And those words, I was 14, 15, whatever it was at that time. I'll never forget those words. It's so true. You have to find the happiness in anything you're doing if you want to do it well. And so that always stood with me. Anyway, worked hard, went to university, went to Glasgow, did mechanical engineering, and loved it. Loved everything about it. But it was a very varied university experience that I had. I worked in restaurants. I worked in two particular restaurants over that whole period, all weekend, Thursday night. I had to work. I needed to earn the money to be at university, and that gave me a very balanced view on things. But it also gave me a very broad friend network, and my friends were varied and interesting, and coming from different walks of life. And of course, I'm still in touch with them, many of them today. But the problem with that was that I didn't really know what I wanted to do after university because I got a great degree and a distinction and so on, but I hadn't articulated what I wanted to do after university. I didn't have that plan. And many of my friends had that plan. So they had jobs lined up and I didn't, you know. Um, I had focused on the studies, doing well, getting a good degree, and I was working. So after university, and it happened, it stops very quickly, very abruptly, right? University has just stopped, and now you need to now life, the rest of your life
Yeah.
continues. You know, I know.
You face the reality.
Yeah. So student debt, all that stuff, and I didn't have that plan. So I moved down to London. And I stayed with my auntie, and I continued working in a bar, basically. And during that period, I then started trying to figure out what I was going to do, which is, in my case, was going to be blue chip companies, was going to be in the engineering field of blue chip companies. I wasn't terribly fussy about the type of industry. So I was applying to industrials, oil and gas, consumers, goods, consulting as well. And the first one that came along that was interesting was Schlumberger. And I remember all of these companies, you have your initial interviews, then there's a workshop, and that's how the selection happens. And um, the Schlumberger workshop was very, very different. It was dynamic, it was exciting. It was less focused on anything analytical or on your intellect. It was more about your EQ, your ability to work within a broad group and maneuver around that group and make the most out of the group that you're in, and using fun exercises like throwing eggs across the room and making sure they don't break, things like that. So that's how we evaluated the people that we needed. And I loved it and did well. And I said, I'll go anywhere in the world. Just anywhere you want to send me, I'll go anywhere. So they sent me to Aberdeen, where I'm from.
You start
Um,
from there first.
I know, I know. But it was honestly, it was a great start. It was a somewhat safe start in many ways, but the friends that I met in that first couple of years where you're thrown into it, onto oil rigs, learning this crazy technology that we have, dealing with radiation, with explosives. You get explosive licenses, radiation certified, managing crews, people that have been working offshore for 30 years, and you come along and you're a whippersnapper and you have to lead these guys and girls. And it's a jolt to the system, but that's where things like working in restaurants for many, many years really, really helps, because you've had to deal with that kind of hospital environment, that fast environment, changes and problems and whatnot. And that really suited my capabilities. So I loved it. And then, did that, moved a few places, worked in West Africa, worked in Norway. And so I suppose just to kind of summarize the career I've had with Schlumberger, now SLB, has had three blocks to it. One was my field career and field support. Another part was consulting. So SLB used to have a management consulting firm called Schlumberger Business Consulting. And after about 9 years of doing what I was doing, what I've been trained to do, which is called wireline field operations, um, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to follow that career. It's a wonderful career, but I wanted something different, to move out of that technical domain. So I was thinking about MBAs, and I actually passed my GMAT and so on, but I wanted to go in that direction. But a friend of mine had moved on to this part of the company called Schlumberger Business Consulting, and he said, just give it a go and see if you
Yes.
like it, see if they like you.
It's a different world.
Different world, different
Yes.
world. And it was run by mostly people that come from Ivy League universities, MBAs and whatnot, that we were we had in our company. And so I went through that rigorous interview process, and they hired me, essentially, is the way it worked. Learning a completely different set of skills, learning how to communicate, learning how to build a story, learning how to think vertically and horizontally, and how to manage complex stakeholder situations, how to handle critical thinking, these kinds of skills that you can only develop in management consulting. And I was lucky enough to be part of the company-wide transformation that was happening at the time, and some wonderful initiatives and some that were less wonderful, but on the whole, it was an incredible experience to be in. I'm very proud to have been involved in helping shape our wonderful company by being in that place. But then after a while, you don't want to do that. You want more change, and and fortunately, there was a couple of people in the company that I am very grateful that were sponsoring me that decided to pluck me out and put me into a headquarter role in charge of a function, and that was the third part of my career, and largely I've done some general management, which I loved, and that customer aspect of it, and that full business management of it is absolutely a wonderful thing to have done. However, I love functional management. So I love maintenance and reliability. I love technology development. I love supply chain and manufacturing. And so these are the things that I've been doing more and more in that third part of my career. And that's why I'm here now.
Excellent, excellent. As I said, like your journey has many milestones. Like
Yeah.
especially when you're starting as a field service engineer. We are not in rapid fire round, but let me ask you, which role did you enjoy most?
Actually, there were, can I answer two or just what did it have to be one?
No, no, you can answer
Yeah.
too. Yes.
So the one that I enjoyed the most was in that first part of my career, which was I was called an in-touch engineer. And the reason I loved it was because I was in charge of a fleet of technology and the technical point of contact for that technology. And I worked in between the technology centers and the field. So I would be that that person in between, if you like. But what I loved about it wasn't that help desk piece. My expertise became through the roof incredible at the time. And obviously that was a while ago. And I learned so much about this particular technology, a true SME, which was a wonderful place to be. I got a couple of patents out of it, being
Really?
involved with engineering, which was wonderful as well. But it was the relationships that I built with the field organization completely globally. I had these wonderful relationships, whether it's because I was helping someone troubleshoot through a problem, or whether I was running a training program, or because they were helping me with input to a particular manual, or I was going to audit them. I just loved it. I absolutely loved this combination of technical prowess that I got, but this connection with the field and how I was helping the field. Absolutely loved it. I don't want to. I've enjoyed everything that I've done. I'll go back to what I said about my art teacher. But if I was going to pull out one other one, it was that first job that I got after consulting. And the reason for that was because in consulting, in Schlumberger Business Consulting, I'd been involved with the creation of a new function, and it was a new function. And my first job after that was running that function for
Mhm.
one of our three biggest businesses at the time.
Exciting. Exciting.
So, it was a full circle of it, and it was just wonderful to put that vision in place, the organization in place for the incredible results that we had as a result of being able to lead that vision. So that one in particular will always have very strong memories of it.
That's really great, and you have hit like multiple points during this whole journey discussion. One thing you mentioned about your teacher, like he said, you enjoy whatever you are doing today, because
Mhm.
sometimes we have seen so many people, they have big goals and ambition, but it goes sometimes against you. You stop enjoying what you are doing today because you are all focused on the future, and your presence in today's world and getting less and less, and that impacts your ambition to grow, so it is also
Absolutely.
important. You have to do your best whatever you are doing today.
Yeah, I always say that as well, and obviously uh, I get involved with quite a lot of mentoring discussions and,
Mhm.
and career discussions, and often, it's a wonderful thing to do, by the way. I love it. It's around guidance. What do you think I can do? Um, or or this is what I would like to do. How do you think I can get there? everyone has their opportunities to work on. Everybody has their things that they need to evolve. But the most important thing is to do what you're doing today well. And to do what you're doing today well, you have to find the things that you love and do them and enjoy them to the fullest.
Yes.
You have to recognize the things that you don't love, and you have to um, try to understand what you can do about that. If you can't do anything about it, you just have to get on with it.
Yes.
And that's the way it is to it. But if you can do something about it and it's worth it, then do that. You know, whether you can do it, whether it's getting someone else from the organization involved. But fundamentally, ensure that what you're doing is pointed towards the value of the company as
Yes.
well. So everything else will come. Yes, you have to manage your career. Yes, you need to know what you want to do, and you need to go through that search, you know, within your head with people that you look up to or people around you to help you decide what you're going to do. But none of that matters if you're not fundamentally working hard on doing what you do well and
Yes.
enjoying what you do.
Definitely. Like we can have all the ambition, all the dreams, but
Yeah,
nothing will be
no,
achievable if you don't perform today.
yeah, yeah,
That's another thing I want to ask you, because again you have very diversified career. When you were planning or when you were looking for next role, like you had any kind of self bias about your success to be in
yeah.
that role?
For sure, right? I think this is something that our company does very well. A lot of the time, you will want to put yourself in a position that you're not ready for. And I've been in that situation many times where I wanted to have a particular role, but my company and these are people that I trust, these people that are my friends today, will say to me, "It's just not going to happen yet, man. You're just not ready for it.
Yeah.
But you can do this, and this is a really good stepping stone." And sometimes that can be really hard because as you look around yourself, you think, I can do that job better
Yeah.
than that person. That person has got nothing on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter what, in my experience, it doesn't matter what job you go into, they're never easy. How easy or hard they are is a lot of it, by the way, is up to you and how ambitious you are in turning the opportunity you have into the best possible opportunity you can make it. So it's largely about yourself, really, as well as what's around you. But I think that the bias is, you know, keep it real. Don't think too highly about yourself, right?
Yes.
That's what I would say. Be a realistic, be humble, you
Yes.
know, and go through the steps. Have all the respect in the world for the people of this world that can catapult themselves to positions um, that where they haven't gone through all of the kinds of steps that someone in my shoes might have been through. But for me, I'm not that kind of person. For me, my confidence comes from knowledge base. My confidence comes from what I know and what I've done, the experiences that I've had and the network that I have. I don't, I won't have that confidence just because I want it to be there.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
those steps are
also,
important.
yeah, and also what you have achieved, that also makes you more confident to be
Yeah.
successful in the next role. No,
Yeah.
that's great. No, it's very, very interesting journey. We can spend all our time talking about this one, because there's so much to learn. But switching a topic here about the industry, because like you are closely working with this energy industry from last 2 decades. But where you see today, where the industry is going towards, what opportunity and challenges this industry is offering?
The industry is a very exciting place to be. Obviously, the first thing I would say is that this is an industry which has evolved tremendously. We just, again, speaking about the company that I'm in, the technology that we have, the things that we can do, the environments that we work in, we've had to evolve at a very, very fast pace just because of the industry that we're in. Reservoirs are becoming more complex, more remote. The geomechanics of it all are far more complex than they were 20, 30 years ago. And we've had to evolve as a result of that. But in addition, you have tremendous volatility, tremendous ups and downs that you have to continue to adjust to on a regular and unplanned basis. You have increasingly crowded competitive space and an increasing pressure on the price of oil. So we've had to become more competitive. We've had to bring down our costs. So all of these things coming together mean that it's an industry which is very heavily evolved. We have
Mhm.
never been able to rest in our laurels and just enjoy things, at least not for a while. We have to work hard to do well. And we're going through more of that. There's an energy transition. There's significant geopolitical events around the world. We want to be good citizens of the planet, and oil and gas obviously is right in the middle of this complexity with that. So it's a time of change, is what I'm getting at, and our company has to evolve as well. And I'm very excited about some of the things that we're doing with our space and new energy, with our evolutions around digital. It's going in a very, very exciting direction, and I'm excited to be a part of it. But what's also evolving a great deal is our supply chain.
Yes.
And supply chain became more and more important to the world as the world in general became more volatile, as massive disruptions such as COVID-19 happened. People have started to understand more about the importance of supply chain.
Yeah, one thing I like to add, like we were moving towards more globalization, but I
Yeah,
I see now is more localization. Lots of countries
exactly,
have in-country manufacturing, what they're
exactly,
promoting.
exactly what I was leading to.
Yeah.
Thanking that, this is how the world is evolving. Globalization is to an extent. It's never going to go away completely, right? There's always going to be a high element of trade, of course, but there's a degree of localization which happens more and more as each country wants themselves to be successful, their own
Yes.
economies to be successful, that self-sufficiency to be there. And we in the supply chain, you have to balance all of that with your objectives of being agility, being agile, with having the lowest cost to serve and so on, being resilient. But the actual supply chain realities are shifting. And it's very, very complicated. Centralization, localization, still moving east. That's still where the most incredible capabilities are built up. The current tariff situation has made life very, very complex and interesting. So it takes the best minds to work through those issues, those complexities, and to create the best possible supply chain you can. So all that is within our industry, and our industry is already complex. So it's an incredibly exciting place to be for all of those reasons.
Definitely. And one thing you already mentioned about there's a digital space, there's a supply chain space,
Yeah,
there's a production, engineering. So if anybody from any background can make big in this industry, because there's so many different kind of roles are available within this industry. Also, if you're coming from different industry, you can bring a value.
absolutely,
So there's always
absolutely.
opportunities.
Absolutely. I think one of the most wonderful things, and this is not limited to SLB, one of the most wonderful things about oil and gas is this incredible diversity that exists.
Diversity.
And it comes from this global aspect that we have. We've got, you'll be in a room and it will be in a meeting, and it's not unusual for every single person to have a different nationality.
Yeah,
So you
very
learn
diverse.
very, very quickly how culture can be different. You learn to respect different cultures. You learn how to work with different cultures. And that in itself is a privilege to be a part of. So you've got that cultural diversity, but you also have that technical diversity, which you're
Yes.
also getting at. And then what we promote very, very heavily, what I definitely believe in very, very strongly, is gender diversity as well. And you need to have those different hats in the space in the room to get the opinions to surface that you need. If we're all thinking the same way, we're all going to go in the same direction. You need to be challenged in different ways.
Yes, definitely.
But that comes by that kind of mix.
Yes.
Yeah,
And if everybody is same, then we will create blind spot.
yeah, yeah,
That's why that's why you
exactly.
need
Yeah,
a diverse voice.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's really great, Simon. So coming back to your journey, as we said, it was very diverse and so much to learn. But if you have given a chance to reflect back on your journey, what
Mm.
changes you might make?
It's a difficult one. I would have liked perhaps to have had a slightly longer true international career. I mean, I've been working all over the world, but my time in West Africa was shorter than I would like. It was a wonderful place to work, and I could easily have spent a bit longer there. Um, I, I, I was pulled sooner than I wanted. So this isn't something exactly that I could control at the time, but I definitely would have loved to have had that opportunity. I've got to be honest that one of my current, I wouldn't would I call it a regret or it's something that I wish better for myself, is to be able to speak another language fluently. And
That helps.
it's just a reality. I've
Uh,
tried hard. I don't think I've tried hard enough. I think it goes back a little bit once again to my art teacher. I don't enjoy it enough. But I am going to get there. I've promised myself I'll get there. So that's one thing that I also would desire. And I think the last one, this is a little bit maybe 100% certain about this, but I met the love of my life and I've had these two beautiful kids, and uh maybe you should have done that earlier.
How old are they?
They're 9. They're twins.
They're
They're
twins.
9. Yeah, and we're having so much fun, all of us together, you know.
Okay.
But maybe we could have done that a bit faster. Honestly, and I feel very, very blessed. I don't have. I'm one of the lucky ones. I think I've had a lot of mentorship and sponsorship around me. I've had a lot of wonderful guidance. I feel that I'm currently in a place that I'm very proud and happy and fortunate.
That's really really great. Great to know. Like continuing the theme of your journey. Now we are going to rapid fire round. Simon, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. How ready are you? If your career were a rig, if your career were a rig, what would you name it?
Derek.
Derek,
Yeah.
you're so clear. I thought it would be tough.
Well, yeah, okay. Uh, are we talking about it or are you moving on to the next question?
No, no, like we can talk about it. Like why Derek, and then I can move to next. And because I thought it would be unique question, but you are so clear.
Because to me, the derrick is where the action is.
Okay.
When you're working in a derrick, it's where the activity is. It's where the action is. It's where the HSE. It's where I spent a ton of my life. It's in the derrick.
Okay, that's great. Okay, most exciting energy hub you have ever worked in? Houston, Paris, London, or somewhere else?
Gosh, that's very complicated. Exciting. I'd have to go with Paris.
Paris. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your role at that time?
So I was vice president of technology delivery for one of our businesses called Reservoir Performance. So I was basically overseeing the operations for the division. It was incredible. It was an incredible job. I loved it. I learned so much. But it was Paris itself is a place, let's say, that for me grew on me. It was
Okay.
a complex couple of years, but to start with.
Language barrier.
Yeah, well, that's my kind of going back to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I will get there, and honestly, and the next time I speak to you, I promise you, it'll be in fluent French. But after a while, that city you fall in love with it, and
Okay,
the country as well. So we had a wonderful time there.
that's great. One technology that's true game changer for supply chains.
For supply chain. Well, you start getting into the digital world. You start getting into the kind of analytical capabilities that can transform supply chain. We're talking about inflation prediction. We're talking about creating a signal that says, speak to that supplier about this automatically, and then that discussion happening automatically as a result. Or if we're talking about some of the really advanced scenario planning that can happen now that we are implementing within our own company. The
Mhm.
volatility again, the variations that can happen are extreme. At some point, you need to choose a road to go down, and it's a hard decision to make sometimes. So the scenario planning aspect of planning is super critical. Prognostics, we've got very complicated technology, operates at very high temperatures, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 30,000 psi, and when it fails, it's bad news. We have data streaming through the borehole, streaming into support centers, and guidance coming in real time about when that technology may be seeing problems and what to do about it. So it's not one single answer, but across the global supply perspective, there's a tremendous amount of disruption happening as a result of what's coming up now in the digital space.
That does make perfect sense. I could sense like there's lots of AI based models are also available. And that has changed the game a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all on a different version of a journey there, I feel, but we rely heavily on input and then massaging the input to make a decision. And that can be around managing your fleet, it can be around managing your people, it can be around determining the kind of activity that you're going to prioritize. And all of that is becoming, it's changing. The rules are changing
Yes.
as a result of the capabilities that are available and that you need to customize to your own needs. It's founded on fundamental data structure. You've got to have good data. You've got to have available data. And we've been spending a lot of time in our company putting that data structure together so that we can leverage it in the best possible way.
Makes sense. Coffee or crude? What fuels your best ideas?
No, coffee. Yeah, coffee. I wouldn't call myself a coffee snob, but I told you I worked in an Italian restaurant for
Yeah.
3 years, and so coffee, cappuccino in the morning is kind of it's just it's more present than brushing your teeth.
Yeah, just get you
So
going.
I have to have my that's absolutely where it's at for me. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. One book or podcast that keeps your leadership tank full.
It's called The Culture Map.
Culture map. Okay.
And it was written by this incredible professor called Erin Meyer, who I've never met, but I think her insights are outstanding. And for me, what I loved about it was, as I said, I've been fortunate to have worked in this incredibly cultural, multicultural industry, and the culture map put a lot of theory into all of that and practical understanding from her about how you work within a highly blended culture. And how different cultures make different decisions, how if you're in a blended culture, you make different decisions. And I just think sometimes when you're in that situation where you've had a lot of hands-on experience, but then you apply the theory behind it, that it can really you get a lot of eureka moments about
Yes.
how to form a team and how to work within a team. So for me, that's one that I really enjoyed and that not too distant. I love novels. I love a good softback as well. And I think the last one that I read, which I just loved, was called Project Hail Mary by an author called Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian, and that's a lot of fun. It's just good, solid science fiction. I loved it.
That's great. Just last not the least is a follow up on the leadership topic. Anyway, in one word, what's the secret fuel of great leadership?
One word, I would have to say curiosity.
Yes.
You've got to be interested in the people around you. You've got to be interested in what's around you. If I was going to add another word, it would be humble.
Yes.
Um,
That's also important. Yes.
you have to you have to be in that place where you you're always willing to learn, where you're okay with not knowing the answers.
Yes.
And if anybody comes in and says, feels that desire, that need to be the person that has to make that decision come what may, has to have that last word, has to do that, be that role, I think you might be in the wrong place. You have to be able to wear lots of hats, but at the end of the day, you've got to be humble, you've got to be curious, you have to learn from the people around you. So yeah,
The-
that's my guiding principle.
no, I fully agree. Like curiosity and humbleness is important for anyone, and especially when you're a leader, then then it becomes more important than ever.
Yeah, I can't solve all of the problems that I'm faced with, and I need to be with my team and to be myself with my team. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be this particular way in the broader organization,
Yes.
right? But with my team, I will be very, very real. I'll maybe be a little bit disjointed at times, a little bit scatterbrain even, but because it's okay. It's with them, and they know. I hope it's just with them, and that's how we figure things out. And I expect them to be the same with me.
No, make
Mm, if we're not real with each other, and if we're not humble with each other, then we don't evolve.
coming to the end of our discussion, but we have discussed so many things actually, from leadership to journey about industry. But if you have to summarize as one key takeaway for our listeners, what would be that one key takeaway?
Work hard.
There's no shortcut.
There is for some people, of course. These are the lucky few.
Yes.
But work hard. do anything that you're not enjoying. If you're not enjoying it and you can't figure out how to enjoy it, then walk away. Life's
Yes,
too short.
that makes perfect sense.
And and focus on that as your true north.
No, makes sense. And last not the least, this show is about the bias. We have hit some of the biases during our discussion, but you have to underline one of the bias that might exist in this industry, and how can we come over it?
I think a significant bias is that it's maybe not a significant bias, but one of the biases is that it's a dirty, ugly industry. And these are the connotations that that you feel when you talk about oil and gas. You know, go around the world and you'll see a huge amount of variation and everything. But in my opinion, what the oil and gas industry is doing, is trying to do, to be more sustainable, to balance these incredibly complex problems that our planet is facing with is profound. None of us have the luxury to be able to just say, to click our fingers and for the world
Yes,
to be a perfect place. Um, and the industry is walking a delicate tightrope, and I think doing it very well. There's so much focus on being good custodians for the planet,
yes.
whilst securing the needs of the planet. So I would probably pick that one.
No, that's a good way to point it. But that's also a problem in the industry. Like we have never talked about the positivity about this industry a lot, and we are using these kind of platforms where we are talking about how this industry is important for this world, this economy. And also one point I like to highlight: this industry is not going anywhere; it's just transforming as needed. When you talk about the climate change, talk about the new technology, it all coming from this industry. So this industry is just transforming itself with the time.
No, absolutely. And as I said at the start, it's so exciting the way that it's had to evolve. It's not been a straight line path.
No.
The way that this industry has had to evolve as the industry itself and the world around it has evolved has been nothing sort of a continuous transformation. And as a result of that, it's an incredible place to learn at a ridiculously accelerated pace. There was one lady that works in one of our manufacturing centers that I met just very recently, and she had left one of the large tech companies. And I
Mhm.
said, why did you join oil and gas? And she said it was the accelerated learning. It was the ability to just really get into stuff quickly
Yes.
at a fast, deep operational level because the industry is changing so much.
So fast. No, definitely. No, no, that's really, really great, Simon. I wish we had more time, but we are coming the end of our discussion. So before I sign off, anything to add here?
I've enjoyed this very much. This has been a bit of a self discovery about myself. You don't very often think about these things, and unless you're challenged to. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, and I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. So with that, I will sign off for today. Keep listening, Oil and Gas Baking by Show. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.